legs are so cold.
Oh my gosh. I know, it's so cold.
Hi guys, how you doing?
How many of you guys have come to every single Sailor Moon Day? Woo! That's awesome.
Robbie, the bottom.
Thank you. All right. We're going to ask you some fun questions, leading off with Sailor Lawrence. First question. Sailor Lawrence. I'm Tuxedo Mask.
The element of Lawrence. I think Robbie.
This is it. The final Sailor Moon season. What's it been like working on this iconic series?
Amazing.
Crazy.
Kidnapped.
I think we should answer all our questions this way.
Sandy's pointing a gun to Robbie right now underneath the table.
I'm pointing a gun, yeah. A squirt gun.
No, it's been, you know, it's crazy. You know how Facebook does the little like, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, blah, blah, blah. And then yesterday on my Facebook, it's like 5 years ago, and it showed me a photo of the very first Sailor Moon Day. And I got a little bit like choked up, you know.
Is this our 6th one? Is that right?
Yeah.
It started 5 years ago?
Yeah.
We're all getting old. And look, just as many, if not more people than the first time around.
And wasn't it in this very room? The first one was in this room. And we were all like huddled backstage. And FYI, we were huddled backstage for 2 hours because the cast hadn't been announced. And they didn't want us to like walk through, and we were all wearing our colors. So they didn't want people to figure it out, like who was who and who was in what. So we were like back here like 2 hours before the show. Freezing.
Still freezing. Sailor Moon was my first ever anime role in a series, other than the movie that Stephanie put me in like 3 weeks before. And I know I've told this story, but we were like, we were talking. I was like, "Hey, dude, would you just see a casting going around for a thing?" And I was like, "Are you a thing with superpowered lady girls?" And she was like, "Maybe," and I was like, "Maybe." And then like 3 weeks later, we saw each other there, and yeah, this is it. My first job I ever worked in Los Angeles, 12 years ago. It was me and Stephanie did a pilot for Warner Brothers, this cartoon, and she played a little bunny, and I played a little bunny, and we were in love. And now here we are.
I'm still a bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came in 2015 because the cast had already had the first Sailor Moon Day, and then I get a call, can you audition for this role? And then there's another role, and she's really evil, and she's connected, and so I didn't know the story, like I didn't grow up with Sailor Moon, so I didn't, I wasn't quite sure what I was reading, but then when I got the first audition back, they're like, can you make that black lady a little more evil, or less evil? You made her too dark, too evil. And I'm like, yes! Because I played like cute characters for 25 years. So yeah, so it's been great, and I just love you guys. This is awesome to all be here. But it's
Okay, next question. I have to get down here and read this one. This is for Stephanie. Okay, Usagi is a very difficult character to voice because she's happy, sad, goofy, mad, sometimes all in the same sentence. But you absolutely nailed it. What was your approach?
I channeled my inner craziness. You know what? I've always been kind of like a emotional person. Even as a really, really young child, I would do this thing when I was a kid. I don't know if I can still do it. It was so weird, so dramatic. I would just clench my face, like clench everything so hard until my whole body would shake, and I would just do that for fun. And I would like make my whole body convulse from like clenching. And my mom would always be like, "Oh my gosh, why are you so angry?" And I'm like, "I'm not angry. I'm just talking loudly." And then the other thing she would say to me is that it's like a Chinese phrase, and in Chinese she would say, "Your tears are not worth money," because the idea being that I cry so much that my tears don't have any value. So I just have been kind of dramatic, I guess. I've been dramatic in periods of my life, so it wasn't that much of a stretch.
Well, I think it was an incredible performance. Let's give her a hand. That really is a hard role to do. And I'm stealing that catchphrase and using it at work. Your tears aren't worth money. All right, say Lawrence has a question.
All right, so this one's for Robbie. So did you have a good time with this? Like, what was your favorite experience with Tuxedo Mask?
Ooh, probably the part where I disappear and don't do anything for 30 episodes. Really easy.
And then you had to come back.
No spoilers. Yeah, no, I think my favorite parts of that character are the ridiculous speeches, and it never stops. It's the most consistent thing about the show. It's like he was dead, and then he comes back and he's like, I've been dead, but death is a struggle that no one understands. I'll teach you how to not die, or something like that. I think my favorite part, though, in the whole run was early Sailor Moon, when he's the teasy teenage sort of lover boy that gets to Usagi by sort of messing with
Because
her.
that's how you were as a teenager,
That is
right?
100% correct. Yeah, I like Mamoru throughout the series. I feel like he grows up. I feel like as the show moves along, his feelings become more clear. He's much more loving to Usagi in certain ways, and not quite so standoffish. And then, especially at the end of this series, it's one of the final moments when they solidify that relationship, and that makes me very happy. That even sassy, cheeky teenage boys can grow up and be real, loving, supporting men.
There's hope for all of you out there.
Okay, Lawrence has a question.
Yeah, this one's for Sandy. So was it fun playing like Chibi Moon? Like, what'd you like about it?
Oh, what did I like about? Well, let's see. Some of my favorite scenes was every time Mamoru would go for another girl, I had to manipulate him to save their relationship, so I could come be incarnated again. But otherwise, no pressure. No, I love bantering with Sailor Moon. I love our little banters over who makes the best cookies and just those little moments. I really like the little subtle moments between the characters. And it's fun. Chibi Moon's fun. She has a nice arc, and she's just really, she's really inspiring. I think she sees the good in everyone, almost to a fault, but I love that about her, so yeah.
The real question is, who do you think Mamoru liked best, you or Sailor Moon?
He definitely liked my cookies best. But he loves her. So.
Stephanie, do you want to respond?
Do I want to respond? I mean, even I wouldn't eat Usagi's cookies.
Yeah, right?
Okay, for Tuxedo Mask. Tuxedo Mask is one of the smoothest characters in the series. Do you think any of that smoothness rubbed off on you, Robbie?
I rubbed off on him. It's too easy. I write all these questions myself. No, of course. I mean, the original performance in Japanese is kind of lovely. It's really nuanced, and I think it's really well done. And you just kind of have to go off of that, and don't play too heavy-handed into the silliness of it. Yeah, I mean, how can he not be smooth? He's a superhero that wears a tuxedo. I mean, it's the silliest, it's the most impractical gear ever. That's why he only fights for like 2 minutes. He's like, to the dry cleaners! But, if you perceive him to be smooth, I think you're putting a little bit of what you want out of him into that. I think
Sailor Lawrence.
yeah, I think the smoothest he ever was when he was breaking up with her. It's true.
And when he drove his car.
Yeah.
The cars.
Clean Nice and smooth.
That was an answer right there.
So for Stephanie, so Usagi is like an inspiration to trillions of fans. Why do you think that is? Trillions.
Trillions, okay. I think that there is, I think it's just her spirit and her goodness and her ability to like see good in everyone and in every situation. I think that's like who we want to be, but we're not always capable of, you know, because we get mad, you know, we hate on people and
Just my outer space boyfriends.
but like, you know, she's always, even the villains that she's fighting, she's always giving them another chance. And I think like we want to be those people to get another chance, and then we also really deep down want to be people to give other people another chance. So I think that that has a lot to do with it in terms of the character. And in terms of the show, it's just so, it's fun, it's great story, but then also like you think that this show was made so long ago, and it was, and you see where we've come in terms of like gender identity and acceptance, and the show was like so progressive at its time, and you know, in its message of love and acceptance, and I think that that really resonated with everyone.
Yeah.
So Sandy, do you ever argue with Stephanie the way Chibi Moon argues with Usagi?
No.
Because I'm always right.
She's always right. No.
I don't think Sandy's ever had an argument in her life.
Oh, I had it.
The sweetest.
Just ask Lex, yeah, I have. But I wanted to add on to that too. I think it's Usagi's, like her imperfections, like her authenticity, her clumsy, you know, all those little things about her that make her real and inspirational, but at the same time, people can relate to her on a human level and a superhero level. So, yeah, I think that's
Good answer. Okay, final question. Who is your favorite character that you didn't voice?
in Sailor Moon.
Not in the world, in Sailor Moon.
Let's exclude all of ourselves.
Okay.
All of ours. So
Yeah,
we can't say, we can't even say
Can't
each
see
other.
any of us.
Yeah.
Can't say any of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you go first then.
I like the fancy Prince boys in the first few seasons. I would say maybe Diamond? It was Mercer.
Yeah!
It was Mercer.
Woo!
And he said something like, blah, 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 you prick. I thought he was, that's the silky smooth boy. Yeah.
I would have to cross genders and say Pegasus. I mean,
You cross species.
yeah, that's true. 4 legs, 4 legs, 2 wings. Yeah, but I would have to say Pegasus would be a pretty cool character to play.
I'd say Venus. I just love
Sailor Venus.
Yeah. I love how she, I also love I love her little sayings. Someone should come up with a book of quotes of Venus sayings.
Yeah, and a cat. It'd be fun to play one of the cats.
Oh yeah, the cats. There's so many good characters. Yeah.
Okay, in the audience, who's the favorite character you didn't voice? Just yell it out. Everybody else. All right, let's give it up for these 3, and they're gonna and then come back out to the cosplay contest judging. Thank you very much. Okay, now we have another prize break, and these prizes are courtesy of Toei.